today with a very special topic. We want to look at job to be done innovation framework from the viewpoint of leadership and changing perspectives, innovation culture through jobs to be done. And I have again prepared an example that I want to share with you on how to facilitate an innovation culture based on a common understanding in your teams and in your own organization on real customer needs. And the whole thing is about leadership, and it's about leadership for innovation excellence, as we may call it. So why are we doing that? Why are we, investigating on better understanding customer needs? Ultimately, we want to achieve innovation excellence. We want to be successful in innovating as a team, as an organization. And there is a model that explains innovation excellence very thoroughly. I will not go into that model today, but I want to show you that innovation and innovation success, innovation performance has many dimensions. And in this model here, you can see that these are more or less 6 big areas that you need to tackle when it comes to leadership in an organization. And it starts off with culture and strategy and organization. You want to look into the front end of innovation process, understanding customer needs. You need to make sure that your development processes are right and that you also bring the value to the market. And that's in the launch area of that innovation process. Now, this is a model, the innovation excellence model, that we have been using for many years to assess organizations and identify those areas where the big levers are to really achieve innovation excellence and to improve innovation management. And what we have learned here is that there are many, many things, of course, that one can improve when it comes to innovation performance. It's about methodologies. It's about, of course, the understanding of customer needs. It's about the support of innovation initiatives from the top management. It's about having a strategy, an innovation strategy at all in an organization. There might be a lack of strategic market orientation and many other things. And when I want to put all of these findings in a nutshell, I would say it is very often in an organization, and when we come to culture, it is a lack of understanding what innovation really is. So what is it that we want to innovate? Why do we want to innovate here? What is the reason for innovating here? And that's the core question that one has to answer when it comes to innovation leadership, that we need to gain a common understanding what we talk about when we talk about innovation. And you probably know that also from your organizations. Innovation is a kind of a buzzword, but it's not very precise in itself. So let us have a look at how to define innovation and how to come to a common understanding what we should talk about when we talk about innovation. And you can really describe innovation in a very, very simple, so to say, function. It's a solution for a need, and that's it. And what we need to come up with in an organization is identifying those customer needs, understanding what needs are relevant, understanding what needs are not very well served, also understanding how many people have a certain need, to really understand if there would be potential to create a solution. And when we have that information, we can then work on creating solutions on an ongoing basis. Probably the first version of a solution will not be the perfect one, but once we exactly understand what the needs are that we want to focus on, we can work on creating better and better and better solutions for our clients, for our customers. And what we want to achieve in an organization, we want to have this on an ongoing basis in a process. But how can we describe needs? And needs in a way that we can also measure them. And here jobs to be done kicks in, as jobs to be done really differentiates the needs perspective from the solution perspective. And when we can differentiate these two perspectives, it gets way more easy to operationalize it and to work with it. Now, this citation from CO2 Levitt, this quote, people don't want a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole, puts that very nicely in a nutshell. And I have another picture for it. When typically you are working on products and you have, of course, the product in mind, you have the digital service in mind that you're currently working on, you have the drill in mind in this example, then it is good advice to change perspective here when it comes to like guiding teams towards innovation, and to try to understand what the reason is why people are using that product. So what is the underlying need? What is the job to be done? What is the task that people want to get done when they use a certain product, or when they use a certain, if you like, digital service? What is the overarching job that people want to get done? Now, as we are already in the, so to say, in the presentation here, you also have a chat window. I'm quite sure that all of you also have certain kind of background, also when it comes to job to be done and customer needs identification and innovation strategies. Please put your quotes, put your comments, put your questions into that chat here. And by the end of that webinar, so in about like 35 minutes, I want to have a look at the chats, at your statements, at your questions, and I will then go into answering some of your questions and keeping up the discussion with them. So please use the chat window. Now, if that is the shifting of perspective towards the true job to be done, what we achieve here is that we find solutions to help get a job done, and that should be then the focus for innovation. Now, this was philosophy. Now let's get to facts. Let's get to process. Let's get to how can we make this happen. And here we have the outcome-driven innovation process that many of you might already know. And this outcome-driven innovation process is a research-based strategy process. So what we do here is, in step number 1, we try to understand and we try to reframe markets from a jobs to be done perspective. That means we try to understand what is the group of customers that we want to create value for, what are their needs, try to understand that needs. When we have all the needs captured, we then want to quantify them. And that's happening in step 3. There's a questionnaire going out to people, and they answer their priorities, their relevance, and their satisfaction scores for each of their needs. When we have this data in place, it's possible to discover hidden segments of opportunity by analyzing this data set with statistical methodologies. And finally, based on these findings, it's possible to come up with a winning strategy, with a product and a service strategy that exactly addresses these unmet needs, these opportunities in the market. And then step number 6 goes into generating ideas, creating concepts, using different type of creativity frameworks like design thinking and others. And that's more or less the process. Now, I have prepared an example where I want to highlight that process to you and also drill it down to the core questions when it comes to innovation excellence as a leadership challenge. Now, my example here would be the innovation of the blood sugar sensor business. How to innovate such a business. Now, this is a medical case. We have similar cases from other industries, but I really like to share this one as it is very actual, and many of you will also have no problem to really understand that, even if you're not out of that industry. So how to innovate the blood sugar sensor business. Now, here we have a product in front of us. What is the first step to take here when we start off like this? We have an existing business. It's a traditional business that has been here for many years, but how can we innovate that? How can we make that digital, for example? The first leadership challenge here is to selecting whom to create value for. And that is what needs to be done in a team, in an organization, to gain a common understanding who is the group of people that you want to create value for. And in any business, in any industry, you have a more or less complex market ecosystem. You have many stakeholders in the business. You have, in this example here, diabetics, of course, that need to measure their blood sugar values. But you also have caregivers. You have physicians. You have educators, diabetes educators. You have insurance companies that have to pay for the devices and the solutions. And then you also have different manufacturers, their representatives. So a complex ecosystem. And now the first question here and the first challenge is to really understand whom to create value for in the first hand. You may find different answers also for your industry. But a good advice and a recommendation would be to really challenge your business as such that you say, okay, what is the ultimate reason why we are here as a business? Why are we here as a business? Is it to serve physicians? Is it to serve educators? Or is it ultimately to serve diabetics? And this is the case here as well. Now, in this example from Roche, it's diabetics whom they want to create value for. And the second question then is, and what is the job to be done? So what is it that you want to support here? And there's a little bit of a trap that I have here in my example. When you say that the job to be done is measuring blood sugar values, probably that's the technical function of the existing technology. That's the technical function of the existing product, but not necessarily this is the job to be done of the diabetic. And here we really need to challenge our understanding of what the job is that people have and that we want to support. Like putting in a different question. You may don't ask what job does my product do, but rather ask what job is the customer trying to get done when they use a product. So what job is the customer trying to get done? And when you talk to diabetics, you realize very, very quickly that it's not that they are, so much interested in blood sugar sensors and measuring blood sugar values. It's rather that they want to maintain their blood sugar levels in a desired range. And that is ultimately the job to be done of a person with diabetes or other, there are many diseases that call for regular treatment. And that is a common thing in many such diseases that require regular treatments. It's to keep things in a desired range. And here it's to maintain blood sugar levels in a desired range. Now, if that would be the job to be done, we would have a new understanding of the market that we are in as a blood sugar meter provider. Because all of a sudden we realize, okay, we deliver blood sugar meters, but the job to be done is a little bit more than just measuring blood sugar levels. It's about keeping blood sugar levels in a desired range. And here the second leadership challenge starts, and that's the second question to discuss with your team and especially to discuss with your customers that you want to create value for. You now need to understand the customer needs thoroughly. Like really understanding what does it take to get this job done? What is all involved? What is it that they want to be able to achieve when getting through their job to be done? And here there is a very extensive jobs to be done needs framework that I just share here in one slide. There is a lot more that you will find on the web, on the website, on our website, on the website of Strategin. That we are using here and that has been developed for over 20 years now. In a nutshell, what this does is it highlights three types of customers that you want to probably create value for. It's the core job executor, but it's also product lifecycle support team members. And there's also a purchase decision maker, which is also a job executor in our understanding with a certain job to be done, the buying job. And then you have the core functional job. There are related jobs, emotional jobs, consumption chain jobs, and the buying job. And each job can further be broken down into logic job steps and into desired outcomes. Not to make this too complex now to start with, I want to really zoom in on the core of the whole thing, and that is the job map. That means once you have identified a person you want to create value for, and you understand what the core job is that you want to create value for, you may come up with a job map. And this job map offers a very thorough understanding of the job to be done. Now have a look at this job map here. That's the model. It is published in Harvard Business Review way back in 2008 already, and it was the early times of this framework. And it consists of 8 steps. And what this describes here is what the customer is trying to achieve when they want to get a job done. And this same time is also the 8 guiding questions that you want to bring in together with your team. When you talk to your customers, you want to talk to your customers and ask them, when they want to execute a job to be done, what is it that they want to define? What is it that they want to be able to plan? What is it that they want to be able to locate and gather? What is it that the customers want to be able to prepare and organize? What is it that they want to be able to confirm and verify? And so on. So you really run through these 8 logic steps, and what you gain here is a model, an ideal model of getting the job done. Like, it contains all the elements that are relevant to get a job done, to run through a jobs-based process. This is also a process map, and it helps you gain a thorough understanding of what is involved in getting a certain job done. And here you can see this applied on these diabetics who want to maintain their blood sugar levels in a desired range. So when you ask the diabetic, what is it that you want to be able to define or plan, they want to be able to determine their true therapy needs. In the beginning, they want to be able to understand alternative therapy approaches. In the execution step, it's about keeping blood sugar levels in a desired range, but also you want to be able to monitor the effectiveness of your therapy. Imagine you have a team of developers, a team of product developers in an organization that has been doing blood sugar meters for 50 years. And now you confront them and help them immerse into the customer needs of diabetics with that framework here, and show that team what is it really about that customers want to achieve when they use a certain product. And what you can also realize very quickly is that an existing product typically only serves a part of the job of any customer. And when you look at the blood sugar meter here, this product, it well serves the job of monitoring the effectiveness of a therapy, monitoring the blood sugar value. But that's only, like part of the game. And when you realize that, you have a very good basis to already start a discussion with the team, with the organization. Okay, what would be our future business vision? How should we, further develop our business as such to get more of the job done for the customers, for the diabetics in that case, and get that job done better and faster and probably even cheaper than with existing solutions. And this can really propel a very informed discussion about your business vision, probably your innovation strategy, having that framework in place. Having said that, this framework, these 8 steps here, they are true in every part of the world. They are independent of geography. They are the same in USA, in Germany, in China, you name it, in every country of the world, because functionally it's the same job to be done. What is different in different geographies and in different contexts probably, is the context, different solutions that people are using that can help them get the job done better or worse. But what we create here is a universal model that is valid in every part of the world and independent of the solutions that people are currently using. And therefore, this job map model helps you identify, so to say, opportunities in a long-term basis and independent of the time. But give me a minute and I will further elaborate on that. So now there are 3 ways to get a job done better. People want to get a job done faster. They want to get it done more predictable with less variability. And they want to gain a higher output and a higher throughput. So this is about efficiency, about getting the job done. And now what one can do is really to challenge customers and ask them, what is limiting the time it takes to get your job done? What is making it unpredictable? What errors can happen when you run through your job map? What limits your output and your throughput when you get your job done? And now these are very precise, clear-cut questions that will generate desired outcomes, as we call it, for each job step, for each step of that job map. And you will realize, okay, there are certain desired outcome in each of the job steps. And this generates customer needs. And needs are, in this perspective, the more than 100 metrics that customers typically use to measure the success when executing a job to be done. So how do they measure their success? They measure their success in looking at the time it takes to complete each step of the job, at the likelihood that something goes wrong. So this can really be measured. And it's typically more than 100 such metrics along each job that one can analyze. And we call them, these needs, the customer's desired outcomes. Now, I have an example for you that highlighted a little bit. When you challenge now diabetics and you ask them, okay, what takes a lot of time when you try to get the job done, when it comes to monitoring the effectiveness of your therapy? Then probably diabetics would say, okay, I want to minimize the time it takes to determine the current blood sugar level. And that is a desired outcome statement. The beauty of that statement is there is no solution mentioned here. There's no technology mentioned here. There is no feature mentioned here. It's not even mentioned that it should be digital. It is the ultimate unit of measure that the customer applies when getting a job done, independent of solutions. If you want to come up with, so to say, a better solution in that market, it will be measured by the time it takes to determine the current blood sugar level. One example. And there are other examples as well. Now, when you look at the first step of the job, like define and determining the therapy needs, and you challenge clients, customers, job executors, and they will tell you that they want to minimize the time it takes to assess at what time during the day blood sugar levels are frequently out of range. Another desired outcome of that job to be done. Now, imagine your product team that has been doing blood sugar meters in the last 50 years and made that better and better, confronting them with this desired outcome statement and asking them, okay, how can we address that? Can we address that statement? Can we address that need with an improved blood sugar meter? Or would we need to have something else instead? So you can really challenge also your existing product teams by looking at the job to be done independent of the product and independent of the solution. And you will find most probably areas for innovation that have been out of scope in the existing product world so far. Another example here, when diabetics want to validate their therapy settings, they want to minimize the likelihood of not being aware of the relations between diet, physical activities, and medication to keep the blood sugar level in the desired range. And one more thing that I want to mention here is the following. When you read through those statements, you do not need to be a medical professional. You do not need to be a physician. You do not even need to be a diabetic yourself, but you will be able to understand what this means, what these outcome statements really mean. So these outcome statements are free of technical language. They are easy to be understood by everybody that reads it. And therefore, these desired outcome statements can also be very easily be used for so to say, for open innovation activities. When you then in the ideation phase, you want to come up with totally new solutions, new technologies, and talk to people from outside your industry. This will be the language that everybody will understand, and that will also help open innovation processes. Now, once we have understood the needs thoroughly, and we have, so to say, generated the whole job map, understood all the desired outcomes, more than 100 such outcomes aligned to any of these jobs, we have a needs model developed. Typically, this takes about 4 to 8 weeks to generate such a needs model that is valid on an international basis. But now we want to really discover hidden opportunities. And here the leadership challenge is, where should we focus on? What is really now the need that we as a team want to focus on? And this is about discovering the opportunities. Now here we need to start to measure. Here we need to start to use a questionnaire in the research. And we put all the needs statements, all the outcomes in a big questionnaire. And we also ask in the questionnaire, so to say, for the context in which the job is being executed, in what country is it executed, in what climate conditions, what is the personal background of the executor. So you really want to understand many, many dimensions when putting in such a questionnaire. But the core element, of course, is these needs, these desired outcomes, where you want to get a rating from a large group of people about their importance and also their satisfaction scores for each of these needs. And we typically do here, I would say 180 to even more than 1,000 such questionnaires on a national or international basis. Here's with these questionnaires, you really want to capture the whole market that you want to play on then later on with your new products and services. And what happens then is, when you get back the questionnaire, you get a rating for each customer need according to its importance and according to its satisfaction. And this is what you can see here on this opportunity landscape, as we call it. This landscape shows you needs that are very, very important, but not very well satisfied. These are underserved needs, opportunities for value creation. And on the other hand, you also can see outcomes, desired outcomes, customer needs that are not so important and overserved with existing solutions. We call these the overserved needs. And for overserved needs, you probably can innovate with products that are less performing, that are cheaper, that have less cost in the manufacturing, but get the job done perfectly for the customers, as the overserved needs are not overserved anymore. So this is about disruptive innovation strategies that can be generated out of these insights. And then finally, you also have table stakes. These are those needs that are on the one hand extremely important, and on the other hand already perfectly served with existing solutions. You find such table stakes in many industries, especially in those industries where you have long-term product categories running. You need to be careful with these table stakes so that new products, new services don't underperform on these table stake needs. And this is already a very good basis now to further shape an innovation strategy, because now you can really discuss with your teams interdisciplinary, okay, if we have an underserved need here, what shall we do with it? What kind of measures do we want to come up with? What kind of services do we need to create here? Can we improve the existing products? Do we need to come up with totally new products, or should the solution be a digital portal that get many of these needs done? So these are the type of discussion that you will be able to really have on a very, very informed basis. And it goes on, the larger the sample that you have generated in the field, that means the more questionnaires that you have gotten back from the field, the more likely it is that you can also drill into this data set and identify hidden customer segments. So not all job executors are alike, not all diabetics are alike. And what you want to come up with here and what you want to find out here is, are there certain answering patterns in these questionnaires that differentiate certain groups of customers? And this is done by statistics, and it's valid and validated and based on the database that you have generated in the field. So this segmentation is not a segmentation that you just do like over the sump, but this is a segmentation that is generated thoroughly and based on the true needs data that you have generated in the field. And here statistics tells us what are there hidden segments of customers, of job executors, and how big are they and how do they look like? And here in this case, you can see that if this is a schematic example, in this case, there would be 3 groups of customers. You know the size of those segments, it's 19%, 57%, and 24%. And you can see that they have totally different answering patterns when it comes to the job to be done. And they have different opportunities. And now there is one opportunity that is a very high outstanding opportunity for this 24% of customers in the market on the very right-hand side. It's minimizing the time it takes to determine the current blood sugar level when measuring the blood sugar. So this is the highest opportunity for that customer segment. And you want to come up with an informed discussion. How do we want to deal with that? How much is the market potential if we come up with a solution for it? If it's a super high-end need for 24% of our customers. What type of customers are these? What is their income? What is their willingness to pay? What is the reason why they have this high opportunity here? What is the context of job execution? Do they need to execute the job in certain conditions, in certain environments that make it so difficult and create such a high opportunity? These are the questions and the answers that you generate when discussing this kind of insight here. On the other hand, you can see another segment, this is 19% of the total market, that has evaluated the same need, minimizing the time it takes to determine the current blood sugar level, totally differently. So they have said these 19% of customers, for them, it's not important at all. It's very, very low importance score, and they are pretty much satisfied in getting it done. So if you would come up with a more advanced solution that probably costs more money, these customers will never go for it because they're already overserved with this outcome here, and probably they want to have a cheaper solution, a less performing solution that will generate more value for them. And then you have this 57% of customers that is more or less in the middle here. We call that appropriately served. And for them, minimizing the time it takes to determine the current blood sugar level is appropriately served. So how could we deal with a customer segment that is positioned like this? Probably coming up with a solution that does the same performance as the existing solution, but a little bit cheaper for a little bit lower price. But here is not really a big innovation potential for that 57% of the customers. Now, this is how to read these hidden segments of opportunity landscapes as an input for your leadership challenge and your corporate innovation culture. Like coming together, and now this is the leadership challenge number 4, aligning the organization. All these insights help you align your teams from different areas. From marketing, from product management, from digital offices, from business model development, from sales side, from production side. Imagine everybody in the organization would share the same understanding of these insights, of what is the job, what is the biggest opportunities, what are the hidden customer segments, and everybody would know that. And this is what we want to achieve here with aligning the organization. It's about distributing this data, these insights into an organization. We also call that democratizing data, democratizing customer insights, and aligning marketing teams, product teams, digital transformation teams, new business development teams, aligning them on this opportunity, on a common understanding of what the opportunities are. And then these teams come up with their measures, with communication measures, with product improvement measures, with process improvement measures, with new digital services, and ultimately also with completely new business platforms and business models. But it all is, so to say, aligned on a common understanding of the opportunity that is validated in the market. Now, to give you a feedback on this example and what Roche did with that, Roche really put that into a business model perspective, and they put the blood sugar meters that they currently manufacture and that they stand for in the market as their existing value proposition in their existing business. And then they put on the customer side, for the customers, their insights, like the understanding of what is it that the customer really want to do. They want to maintain their blood sugar levels in a desired range. And now let's compare that customer need with the existing value proposition. How much is the existing value proposition, the blood sugar meter, capable to really address that customer need, that job to be done? And what else also out of this research, as I have shown here, is you also have an understanding of the customer segments. How are customers really segmented? What is their willingness to pay for better solutions? What is it? How many customers really have that need? And how many customers are already overserved with existing solutions? So all of this information you have in the customer side of the business model. And now this is the basis to create an improved business model, and maybe to create ultimately totally different business models. And there are two guiding questions that pop in here. First of all, and that's the question to the whole team that is aligned here on this discussion: how can we get more of the job done on a single solution platform? Now, when we know that the job is maintaining blood sugar level in a desired range, how can we help customers get more of their job done on a single solution platform in the future? And the second guiding question is, when it comes to improving the existing product and improving the existing business model, how can we help customers get the job done better and cheaper in the respective of the existing product? So like you saw before, the blood sugar meter is currently helping to monitor blood sugar levels. How can we help them monitor the blood sugar levels even faster, even better, with even less errors, and probably even cheaper from the viewpoint of the job executors? So now these are the two guiding questions that really propel the whole discussion of business model innovation in a very, very structured way. And the result that came out here with Roche was to really revamp the whole value proposition and to come up with, and this is already public, and this can already be shown to the public, is you can see that on the Roche Diabetes website, rochediabetes.com solutions. You have the link also on the slide here, that Roche is now building up a value proposition of IPDM, an integrated personalized diabetes management. Because it takes more than a product, it takes more than a blood sugar meter to maintain blood sugar level in a desired range. It takes a management solution that enables customers, that enables job executors getting the whole job done. And this has been realized and is currently being realized with new blood sugar meter solutions, like sensor solutions, with Bluetooth, with new pumps that deliver insulin, because it's not only that you want to measure the blood sugar value, also want to influence it, in this case with insulin pumps. And then Roche also investigated into building up a digital ecosystem and they identified an app provider, so to say, a startup based in Vienna. That's My Sugar, and My Sugar has a diabetes app that help track blood sugar levels and help track how the diabetes therapy works. And they have bought that startup, exactly knowing that this solution of that startup, this digital solution, would exactly click into that long-term strategy and value proposition of Roche. So this is how you can inform not only the creation of solution, but most importantly, a thorough understanding of what should be a future value proposition and what is it that need to be created to really bring that value proposition also to the streets. And it has a very strong impact on corporate innovation culture, a common understanding of what is our business, what is the business that we are in, and to change over this understanding that, so to say, Roche is not anymore in the business of blood sugar meters, but it's in the business of helping people maintaining their blood sugar levels in a desired range. You can download a case study on that and interviews on that with Marco De Polo from Roche Diabetes Care. He's the global head of strategic insights and open innovation. There's also a link here. And let me give you also a remark on another case study that I would like to share with you here. It's the case study of Maco. That's an Austrian provider of window hardware. So it's out of the building and construction industry. And this company really took 10 years, a full decade of innovation to really transfer and transform their organization and create totally new products over the last 10 years. And it's a groundbreaking industry-changing innovation that came out here with Maco. Please have a look at that case study that summarizes that as well. And let me come to a summary here. So innovation excellence is a leadership challenge. It shall be based on a common understanding of relevant and unmet customer needs. The leadership challenge number one would be to really selecting whom to create value for. And that could be a first step when aligning your teams on innovation to get a common understanding who is it that we want to create value for. And it's not companies that you want to create value for. You want to create value for people. So who are the people that you want to create value for? Leadership challenge number two, understanding the customer needs for that selected group of people. What is it that these people want to get done? What is it that they want to get done when they use our existing products and technologies? What is the, so to say, the Uber job? What is the underlying need that needs to be done, the job to be done? And how do they measure their success? And when we know that, when we know the need, when we know all the desired outcomes in getting a certain job done, we then want to discover hidden opportunities. Leadership challenge number three, get it measured. Get it measured. Get a questionnaire out. Have it measured by a representative sample of customers. Do not base your innovation strategy on a few interviews with, 10 or 20 customers. Really go out and have a big questionnaire with a big sample of customers that give you statistical validity. And this is how you discover hidden opportunities that will stand the test of time. And finally, it's about aligning the organization. And one more word here to aligning the organization. The whole thing is a process. So you want to align the organization already in step one when you select whom to create value for. You want to, bring people on the streets, put them on that track and run through this research and through this question and immersion with customers together. The more you can do this together in your team, in your organization, the stronger the alignment will be afterwards. So that is a little bit of what I wanted to share with you on how to apply job to be done framework on corporate culture, on leadership, and on shaping, so to say, a common understanding of the future of innovation for your teams, for your organizations. Now, there are further touch points as well. I just show you this one here, and then I would like to go into your questions in the chat. Now, here is the Job to Be Done Institute program. Like we are, on the one hand, a consulting company, so we conduct these projects with you and with our clients, and we together do this research and innovation processes. But we also want to enable you. We also want to enable our clients. We want to enable companies to apply this way of thinking in their daily life. And that's the reason why we have this Job to Be Done Institute. This delivers public trainings for everybody who is interested. And here you have an overview of this program of the next year. There is these webinars, there is the Innovators Talk, there are strategy classes, a masterclass, and even the Job to Be Done Summit Europe that will happen in March next year, where we get together hundreds of people from all over Europe and beyond to exchange their viewpoints and experiences. And one highlight that I want to invite you to, that will happen very soon, is on October 13 to 14, where we will meet in Gamming. So it's not gaming, it's Gamming. That's in Austria, not too far from Vienna. And here we will visit a company. It's a very traditional industry, Worthington Industries. You may want to Google them as well. And they will share their personal story on how they built the bridge between corporate digitalization strategy and product strategy from a very traditional company and what they achieved here. So we will meet there for 1.5 days. Check it out in the web link, and that will be a personal meeting. So it will not be virtual. This will be physical, and yeah, I would be happy to see you there as well. Now, this was the webinar, and let us now switch over to your chat room. Okay. Now, a lot of comments in here. I see. I go through that now. We have a few minutes left. I go over through that step by step. Now, here we see a comment from Renato. Fun fact that they want the whole, but they don't want to pay for the whole, as Hilti proved, learned with a pay-per-use mode. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. It's the question how you define the job to be done. And you can go a little bit further in that discussion. Is it really the hole in the wall that people want to get done? Or is making a hole in the wall just a technical function of the drill? And that's the same trap as we saw it with the example just before. Is the blood sugar meter, what is the job to be done? The technical function is to measure blood sugar. But the job to be done is something beyond. It's about keeping blood sugar levels in a desired range. And most probably also here, when it comes to real drills, it's not that people want to make holes. It's probably that they want to complete an installation job on a construction site. And when you want to, if you would look at that perspective, it gets way more lively. And by the way, this is also what Hilti did, helping people getting more productive in completing their installation jobs on a construction site, and that generates then at least more potential for revenues. Now, another comment here, hopefully we can get to some examples of organization transformation or change management using ODI and job to be done approach. Now, this is what I wanted to do here in the webinar. I have some more thoughts on that that I want to share here. We see many organizations that apply that way of thinking also for their internal jobs. Like we are working together with a company that has applied this in their product development organization. So they said, okay, we have a team here of innovators. We do product development, we do product management, but what is our job to be done? And can we describe our job to be done, the creation of new products, in a job map? And can we, drill it down into its logic steps? can we have interviews with our team members internally, ask them what takes a lot of time when you want to create a new product, what can go wrong when you want to create a new product, what kind of information is missing or not easily to gain when you want to create a new product. Have all these discussions internally, and probably then also do a questionnaire with your teams internally and identify these opportunities for value creation for your own teams. So this is also a way to apply this very successfully internally, and by doing so also to transform, so to say, your understanding of what is a job to be done, what is innovation, how can we innovate processes and organizations. Another example, and this is an example that goes back to Maco that I was just sharing before, they did not only apply job to be done framework to better understand their customers, they did it in their internal storage organization. Like they had the task to optimize their storage and supply chain, and they applied it to their internal supply chains. Now that would be some examples, and we can go further and have further discussions as well if you like. And I'm always there also to chat via email or otherwise. Now, customer segmentation and targeting, right? Yes, that's also about targeting. You want to segment customers, and then you want to have an informed discussion. How can you target them? What would be the messages and the communication towards certain customer segments that help you position your products? Another comment, sometimes customers are themselves don't know what they need and are willing to pay for. It is an iterative process in finding this out. Absolutely correct. Fully agree. What customers don't know is what solution they need. That's, to put it really into perspective, it's not, they don't know what solution they need, but what they exactly know is what goes wrong in getting the job done. Ask people who need to create a new product in your team and ask them what's difficult in creating a new product. And they will tell you what is all difficult, what can go wrong. So, like you can step into their shoes and they can exactly tell you what goes wrong when getting the job done. But most probably they are not the solution experts that can tell you what product you should create for them. And this is how we want to change perspectives here. Another one from Yolanda. Good morning from Holland. Yeah, welcome back from Austria. Does job to be done also work for companies buying IT products? Do you have any advice for B2B and the IT market? Yes, we have. We have actually done more than 40 projects for Microsoft. This was the early stages of outcome-driven innovation framework. And by the way, many products of Microsoft have been improved and newly created based on the insights of these projects. One example is OneNote. That was the original version of OneNote was created out of the insight that there was a job to be done for office workers to take notes while working. And we analyzed that job to be done, and then the software was created. Now, when you are mentioning here companies buying IT products, you may want to have a closer look into the customer needs framework. There are 3 groups of customers that you can differentiate. One is the buyer. So this is the person who needs to take a buying decision for a certain software, and you should understand them. But on the other hand, and I think this would be even more important, is to understand the core job executors. So the group of people that want to execute a core job that is supported with a certain software. And you need to fully understand them as well and use the insights of that group, their opportunities, their unmet needs, and present that to the buyers. So then this comes to be an integrated approach. And furthermore, when we talk about consumption chain executors, these are the IT admins in larger organizations. They have to administer information technology, IT products, tech products. And we did actually a project for Microsoft on for the IT admins as a target group, how to better help them manage their software licenses. So there's a lot of applications in this area as well, and you want to check out probably our website. There are also things for download and we can discuss this also further. Now, another one from Peter. Good morning, also from Austria. Would be great if you could share the links to the case study. Thanks. Yeah, there are links already in the chat. I can see from Daniela, and we will also send this out to you with the handout of that webinar, and you will get these links delivered. Renato, how big does the market potential customer base needs to be to justify this good but very labor-intensive approach? At least it seems like a lot of upfront work. Okay, you're right. you need to analyze, and you need to do some research. Just one thought on that. Imagine how much work and how much effort you put into the creation of the product, into the creation of a new business model, into the creation of a new software package. How much hours and labor goes into that? And by investing a little bit more effort in the very front end to understand what the need really is, we'll make sure that all the efforts that run into later are on the sweet spot and will really deliver value. And on the other hand, our experience is that you have to invest way less labor in the product creation later if you have done that research beforehand. Yeah, how big has the customer basis to be? I would say it's enough to have just one customer in the world. If the business is big enough and if the value that you want to generate here is big enough, it's enough to have just one customer. And then you just conduct one interview, discuss it with them, try to understand what the job is, what the needs are, and maybe you do not even need to do a questionnaire, but you can already, tick into what is the most important one. So it's rather a question of what value is in a business and how safe do you want to be in taking a business decision and a resource decision. And then keep the spirit, but not the form. It's not necessary that you do 1,000 questionnaires. Maybe you have a small customer base. Maybe you only do 30 questionnaires and that's it. Maybe you don't put in 100 needs in the questionnaire. Maybe you just make a short questionnaire, a short online questionnaire with just 20 minutes and ask them for 30 needs. So this is all possible and to be applied according to your specific needs. So now I see some input from Daniela. Isabella, thanks for this introduction. I find the approach to find hidden customer needs very structured and interesting. The results of the survey can be very different if you don't address the right target group, but which is ensured by your process. Yeah, at least we try to ensure that. And to add a remark to this, in the very beginning, you try to understand the groups that you want to create value for. And in some cases, you realize you are not sure, is it this group or that group? Especially when you have many stakeholders in a business, like the medical business here, where you have patients, you have doctors, you have healthcare providers. Who is the right target group? And having said that, why not have a few interviews with each of them? And, immerse a little bit into these different target groups, gain an understanding what the job is that they want to get done, and then only then zoom in on one group. So this is also an approach that we recommend to take here. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, thank you for listening, for your interest, also for your comments. Yeah, thank you for saying thank you. It was a big fun to me. I would love to talk to you also personally. Maybe we can make it one day, one time. Maybe we will see each other in Gaming or somewhere else, maybe at the next summit. And apart from that, join our Innovators Talk. It's just 1 hour virtual talk, the next one in December. And there we can also have a real discussion. We have, so to say, not only the chat room there. And it was big fun for me. And please spread the word, capture the spirit, and happy innovating, helping getting jobs done for many, many people out there. Thank you.